The sinner and the saint. The sinner and the saint. Oh, yeah, that's a good story. Um, yeah, that was back in 2006, just before Fire the Grid actually happened. And I was working in an office, and if I got all my work done at the office, the guy that I worked for didn't care what else I did, just man the phones. So the office work was pretty simple, and I had all day to do Fire the Grid stuff, which was kind of cool. So I had a vision the evening before this workday, and the vision was that when sinner and saint pick up the flag for the same cause, you will know you're on the right path. And I was like, sinner and saint, like, but of course they use my mind, so that's something I would probably say, sure. Anyway, I went into work, and the phone rang early into the morning, and it was a woman, and I won't say her name because that way we'll keep the autonomy of the guest. But she calls me and she says, I'm blankety blank blank. And I live in, oh my gosh, my brain is drawing a blank. Okay. So this woman was from somewhere in the southern United States. And I'm just drawing a blank about her city. But anyway, that's not part of the story really, because she calls me up and she says, hi, my name is. And then she says, we've heard all about Fire the Grid and we're really excited. And I said, oh, who's we? And she said, well, I'm a porn star. And she gives me her porn address and she says, I have the biggest tatas in the whole industry. And I'm like, wow, that's wonderful. And she says, well, I'm calling you today because we want to take part in Fire the Grid. And the whole industry is joining me. And we're having this big affair. And it's a big, happy, everything that you've said to do. And I'm like, wow, well, that's great. So I gave her the information about how to fire the grid. If you meditate, meditate. If you pray, pray. But if they don't bring you joy, don't do those. And she goes, oh, we won't be doing those. And I said, okay, so the next one is experience your joy fully without judgment and then say thank you, thank you, thank you. And I said, that's really all you have to do during the hour. But I said, I really promote you listening to music and eating good food and being with people you love. And she said, oh, we have so many people, we're going to do this. And she was all delighted. And I was all delighted. And she had a big event planned. And off she goes. So I go back to typing up my papers and doing the little bit of stuff I had to do to finish the work for the day. And the phone rings again. And this is another person calling me about Fire the Grid. And he says, my name is Reverend Blankety Blank. And I went, wow, where are you from? He says, I'm from Mississippi. And I'm like, wow, okay. So now this is two people in a matter of hours. And he's telling me how his congregation is planning a huge event and they have a big party going and they're going to have food and he wants the instructions on how to fire the grid. And I tell him, if you pray and if you meditate and that brings you joy, you do that. And he goes, we'll be doing lots of that. And I said, that's awesome. And I said, and for those people that don't really resonate with that as their joy, I said, all they have to do is concentrate on the things that they love about being a human. What do you love most about being a human? And then say, thank you, thank you, thank you. Gather, unite, joy, food, love, hugs. He goes, oh, I've got it. We're going to have the biggest party Mississippi's ever seen. And I said, well, thank you so much for calling. And when he hung up the phone, I realized sinner and saint. Now, not my words of sinner and saint, but what the world would deem sinner and saint. But it was two very, very different groups of people with the exact same idea to take part in this. It was absolutely free. It was back in 2007, and it was just an amazing outcome. And everybody came together realizing that the one thing we have in common is that we're all beings of light in suits and that we're all going to share this time together. So that was my sinner and saint story. And the beings were right on. And it happened in the same 2-hour period. So that was really kind of cool.